So, as a lot of you may know, the Steam Machine was announced yesterday, and I'm assuming Valve realized that Sony was lonely with the PlayStation since Xbox um, unfortunately contracted stage 4 cancer. But instead of deciding to go to chemotherapy, they're deciding to stick their nutsack into a microwave and let it run for a couple of hours. So they might not be around in the console space for much longer. There's already rumors saying that the next Xbox console is going to be a PC, and all Sony has is Nintendo, which they're kind of their own entity. They don't really talk too much. So Valve decided to step in and make a new console so that PlayStation wouldn't be that lonely. Now, I actually got my hands on this console a couple months back. Valve personally invited me, along with like 3 other people, to their special island to test out their new hardware. But I apparently refused to sign an NDA, so they used a little Mind Viper device from Men in Black to wipe my memory of the console. So I can't tell you what it's exactly like hands-on, but I can go ahead and look at what Valve themselves have posted and what IGN says after getting their hands-on reviews. But we can go ahead and pull it up right here. That is r/furry porn. Let's ignore that. So at the top of this website, well, we see the first look of the console. It's apparently about the size of a clean Xbox. And it has like a big LED strip on the front that you can customize or use as like little status symbols. It can, of course, access your entire Steam library, which I think is a very huge W. As you know, Steam has countless games from so many different generations and so many different publishers, and they get so cheap that it actually is like a very good competitor to physical games. I will always stay a physical nerd. I'd rather be able to do this with my video games and show them off and maybe like sweep them out like it's a stack of money. But you know, some people just prefer digital games. They don't want to flex their physical games that much and look like a fucking nerd and make any woman walk out of your dorm. Although a downside is that you probably won't be able to play Fortnite out of the box with this thing. It is going to have like a PC style OS on it, so I would imagine you can install different launchers onto it, but it won't out the box be able to run Fortnite. So I think that's a pretty big caveat. I think that's going to make it so I'm not going to buy one if like I can't play Fortnite right out the box. As mentioned before, it is going to have its own OS. I don't know too much about the specifics of the hardware. It is listed down below, but there's like, based on what IGN has played on it with Silent Hill F and Cyberpunk, I would benchmark it about this, probably about the same as a PS5. Silent Hill F specifically did not run particularly well. They had to put it on medium graphics. But to be fair, that is a very new game. Developers don't know how to optimize their games anymore, especially AAA developers. And this console isn't even available for the market yet. So I'm sure, just like the Steam Deck, they will go through all the different games and optimize them properly for the console so that they run as well as they possibly can. But it's expected that most modern games will be able to run at 4K 60 FPS. And there's going to be two available storage options, 512 gigabytes, which honestly that is not that much, and 2 terabytes. But you will be able to open the back of it up and access the SSD slot and be able to put in your own storage. And the front of the console does have a micro USB port, so you can expand the storage in that way if you so please. It can also be used as a PC. I am sure 99% of people are going to use this as a gaming console, but the one weird 1% that want to use this as a PC, I'm sure you can install like CapCut or something on it. And this will have good connectivity between the Steam Deck and the, I think it's the Steam Frame or Valve Frame, or whatever the fuck the VR headset is called. I didn't really look too much into that because I truly don't care. But you will be able to connect to those for seamless streaming. Right out the box, on the front, you get 2 USB 3 ports, a micro SD slot, and, you know, the power button, because how the fuck are you going to turn this thing on? And on the back, you'll get a display port, HDMI, the normal connector, Ethernet, 2 USB 2.0s, and 1 USB-C port. And this thing can output above 60 FPS. It's just that most games will probably run at that 60 FPS. But if you use this DisplayPort, you can go up to 4K 240 hertz or 8K at 60 hertz. Or with the HDMI, you can go up to 4K 120 hertz. We are going to be getting a controller with this. What I do really appreciate is that the controller, you have the option to buy the console with it or without the controller. If I do get the same, which I still don't know if I will, because they said the price is going to be, this is quoted from IGN, but the console will be competitively priced to compete with PCs. That does not give me hope, because on like the low end of PCs, they go for like $800, and then you're typically most PCs are going to cost around $1,000 to $1,500, assuming you're buying a new pre-built. Unlike our current market for consoles, where it's about $400 to $600. But at least not having the controller, if you don't want it, that is very nice of them, and you'll be able to connect any Bluetooth controller you wish to it. So, I have two PS5 controllers. They actually released an update so you can connect like 4 devices to one of these things. So I think that would be extremely useful. A lot of people said that this controller is nice. I don't know. I have not used a Steam Deck myself, but I've used stuff with like the similar like touchpad layout. I don't really like it that much, honestly. This controller looks kind of sunky, and like I feel like the buttons and joysticks up here are like really crammed together. I just can't see myself really enjoying using this thing, but who knows? I'm also a fucking Neanderthal, so like I'm sure people will get a kick out of this thing. And now let's see what IGN has to say about this whole thing. Okay, fuck the IGN video. There's nothing in here that I have not said already. So instead, I'm going to talk about what I think the future of consoles is going to look like alongside with this, and how I think this will compete with PlayStation and Nintendo. But I am going to quickly pull up my Snapchat messages with Mr. SpiderNick06. You should go subscribe to his channel, because I was going to say we were talking about it, but more like I was yapping to him about it. I sent him like literal paragraphs talking about this thing, and that's why I'm making a video about this. Okay, well, it turns out I completely forgot that Snapchat deletes messages after 24 hours. I think that is the only downside of Snapchat. But I was trying to paraphrase what I remember. I think this does have very good competition against PlayStation, and well, maybe not Nintendo as much, or already a standalone thing. But I think this does have very good competition against PlayStation, but not in a way where I think it will overtake PlayStation, but to where it can offer, I think it'll be enough of a competitor to make PlayStation a little scared and try to actually do a little bit more innovation with their console. But I do think the 3 main consoles that we have right now, they all have like their own ups and downs. Say with the Steam machine, you're going to have access to your Steam library, which those games get hella cheap at times, and you're going to have countless games from so many generations. And the same is also a PC. And with your library, you're going to be able to share that between the handheld console and even use it for VR. Or you can even transfer it over to a PC. You're going to have so many options with this, but you're not going to have any form of physical media with this thing. It seems like you're not going to be able to attach like a disk drive. And I highly doubt Steam is going to try to get into the real physical market with video games, because like they already have such a good grasp over the PC digital market. Why would they even bother putting out physical games? Then for PlayStation, I think this is going to be a slightly more powerful console, and a lot of games are properly optimized for PlayStation. So most AAA games you're going to get, they're going to run flawlessly and beautifully on the PlayStation 5. And this thing is an amazing media player. This thing can play 4K Blu-ray discs. So if you're someone like me who loves physical games, I think you're going to have a huge advantage with this. But obviously you got to pay for multiplayer games. But you'll obviously have to pay for multiplayer games. And although you do get the cheaper physical games, if you're a more digital person, the deals from what I remember, they are not incredible, at least not as good as Steam. And with the Nintendo Switch 2, it is definitely the most powerful handheld that we currently have on the market. Well, maybe like I haven't seen much about the Xbox handheld, nor do I really give a shit about that saying I don't think anyone does. But it's basically the best option on the market right now for a handheld console, and you're going to get access to Nintendo's phenomenal first-party games. Say what you want about Nintendo, they have phenomenal first-party games, but the console itself and the games are very expensive with very little sales ever happening, especially for first-party games. So it is going to be overall a more expensive route there. I think if the Steam Machine is priced more accurately towards console, like probably being no more than $650 for the 2 terabyte model, then I think this is absolutely worth it and will actually be real competition against PlayStation. But if it's any more than that, then like I don't think it's gonna fail, but I don't think PlayStation is gonna have to worry because they have a more cost-effective way of playing AAA games with better performance. But anyways, that's all this moron has to say about the Steam Cube. So tell me what you guys think about the new modern GameCube in the comments down below. Feel free to subscribe. I'm in college right now, and I have at least like 2 major projects coming out soon. So I will talk to y'all later. Goodbye. And then I'm going to walk to the camera. Want to look dead into it. And now the outro is going to start.